Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into something that I've been obsessed with recently, drawing birds. Let's do it! Birds come in so many shapes and sizes, making them both fun and challenging to draw. And let me be real with you, it didn't start off easy for me. I've had my fair share of bird drawing disasters. Like this one. Drawing birds can be tricky because there are so many subtle details, like the curve of the beak or the shape of wings in motion. Until a few weeks ago, my bird drawing career was still dedicated exclusively to swans. Why? Because they are the easiest birds on the planet to draw. Let me show you. One swoopy heart-shaped neck, a body like a leaf, and voila! Instant elegance with minimal effort. But today, I'm expanding my repertoire. Wish me luck, it's about to get a lot less graceful. But don't worry, we'll go through each step carefully. And I'll share some tips to hopefully prevent your birds from looking like, well, whatever this is. So, in my quest to learn how to draw birds, I followed one video recommendation which said, draw birds from references. Easy enough, right? I picked 5 birds from Pinterest, sat down with all the determination in the world, and well, 3 days later, I had something resembling the birds. I mean, they didn't look too bad, and I was impressed that I even managed this much. But the process was really exhausting. I didn't even know where to start half the time, and each sketch felt like a struggle. I knew I needed serious help, so I set out to find a pro on YouTube who could actually guide me. And luckily, I found one. His name is John Merlos. And on this channel, you can find plenty of tutorials on drawing birds. I watched all the main ones, and here I want to show you some core principles and my progress. So today we are going to cover the following topics. Basically, you start by drawing a straight line that goes from the top of head through spine. That line shows shape of birds and which direction it's facing. Tip that works for me is to ask questions if it is more or less than 90-degree angle. Step 2 is to hang a head from that line, so I attach my bird head right onto that line. Right there was my bird's head. Then I focus on angles that goes from head to back. Then next line that shows the direction of beak and eyes, because eyes are on the same line, and line from beak to throat and upper chest. Now that bird's head is attached into its body, I draw an oval for the body. Don't focus on that straight line that you have drawn before. The oval don't has to be as big as line, or you will end up with too long or too short body compared to its head. Instead, look at your reference and think about the proportions. How big is this bird's head compared to its body? Also, don't forget about wings. Actually, the bird's wing is hand fold up like this, and then it goes into the feathers. This one has it about a third of the way from the top, 2/3 from the bottom. Later we'll go into more detail on the legs. But for now, the legs come out through at a forward angle, or sometimes you see a little bit of a sock coming down and then the leg. Next, the tail. First draw the line that shows the angle of its tail. Sometimes the birds pop the tail up really high, so that tail is going to pivot from the point somewhere in there and go into your chosen direction. Let's draw one more time from the other side. You can try it yourself with me. And here another perspective of bird more hanging on the branch. Legs are not 100% correct, but we will go into it in more detail at the end of the video. Next, let's draw birds from below. To draw a bird from below, start with the body. Begin by drawing an oval. This will be the bird's main body. From this angle, you'll be looking up at the bird, so we won't see everything as clearly. Visualize the head placement. Since you are viewing the bird from below, the head might be barely visible. peeking just above the body. Sometimes only the beak sticks out. At the base for the tail. Think of the tail as the bird's anchor. Place it just below the oval, pointing down slightly. The tail shape can vary. If it's a songbird, make it short. For the hawk, try longer, more pointed look. Draw the chest and legs. Draw two simple lines that create a V shape close to the bottom of the bird. These lines represent the legs as they grip the branch with the body weight resting above. Then outline the bird firm. I added a soft line along the other side of the chest to give it a round feel. And there you have it. Your bird is all set. Now let's give it another go, but this time we'll make the head a little more visible. Try adjusting the head placement slightly so it's in cleaner view. Go ahead and try it yourself too. It's a great way to practice. Now let's draw birds from a 3/4 view. So basically it's the same principle as for the side profile view, but once you have head and oval for the body, add vertical line across body, sort of midline of the chest to divide it and show where the center of body is. It will help make bird symmetrical. Move wing more to the left, and for the tail we can see more undertail feathers. Like when we have drawn bird from below sitting on a bench. Eyes should be placed on a line that sets the direction of beak. And beak itself is going to be a little more complicated. It looks a little like a rhombus. Draw a line from the eye up and then down like top of a triangle. Then down to the neck and back to the left in straight line. It should look like this. I outline it for better visualization. Now let's draw one from the other side. Feel free to follow along and try it yourself. Next, flying birds. To draw a bird in flight, start with a simple oval for the body. This will help establish the bird's main shape and positioning. Next, add a small circle for the head near one end of the oval, keeping in mind that this is where the beak will point forward. Then draw a center line down the middle of the oval. This will give you a sense of the bird's direction and keeps your drawing balanced as you add wings. Now for the wings. Wings consist of two parts, primaries and secondaries. Primaries create this sort of rectangle and secondaries more like triangle. Primaries also have the short feathers, while secondaries have more long feathers. You don't have to draw each feather, it's just a sketch, so let's simplify it. Wing from the other side should be the same size as the first one. We naturally see it foreshortened. So let's shorten it, but be careful. You want to have symmetrical wings in this case. I have drawn helping lines to assure wings start and end at the same spots. Let's draw another flying bird, but with interesting wings. Birds can do all sorts of crazy dynamic things with their wings in flight, and they get away with it. So sometimes we will overdo our symmetry where we shouldn't. Always take a close look to your reference photo to see if bird actually has symmetrical wings. Outline and voila, another beautiful bird. Now let's draw a singing bird. All my life I've drawn beaks like this, little V coming from circle. But problem is that's not right. You know, when opened, birds actually have the inside corner of the beak placed deeper into their head. Let's draw it. I will draw body quickly and then beak. Actually, you draw upper bill normally, like you are used to until now, and then add one triangle below to form an open beak shape. Make sure the top bill is a bit larger and curves slightly downward. while the bottom triangle curves upward. Draw a slight curve on line between the two triangles, representing the bird's open mouth as it sings. Now let's draw the three-quarter view. Again, head, helping line across head, line to see where beak is pointing, eye, and finally beak. Point where your beak is going to attach. Your eyes is sitting up on top of this line. Draw open beak, and since this bird's head is tipped up slightly, and sometimes you will see the little tongue flicking up. Now let's draw singing bird. This time I will draw only head. The upper beak part is pointed up in the air, but that's not because this bill is tipping up, it's because the whole head is turned up like this. Very often a singing bird will tilt its head back, and it's not that this part of the beak has flipped up, but the whole head has tipped up. I've tried one more with more open beak, but I actually like the first one more. Now let's talk about drawing birds' legs and feet. And first, let's dig into the structure of feet. Most common one is 3 toes goes forward and 1 back. There you can see a number of bones on each toes. It is important to know that back toe has only 1 bone, so technically it cannot bend. So when drawing this back toe will always be straight and then small claw. But front 3 toes should bend around the branch. Also, when I was drawing feet from the side, I always did this. I thought we should see all 3 toes, but true is opposite. We see only back toe and all 3 toes as one, like this. That's a better way to draw them. And here is the next principle. Legs, when standing, they don't go as parallel straight lines, but more to the sides, so they can hold bird's body better. Now let's draw legs. I intentionally didn't draw legs for the last 2 birds. Let's draw them. First, choose the direction of legs. Draw legs first and then branch. Otherwise, you'll get longer or shorter legs based on branch, not the reference. Then draw joints and toes. Remember, back toe is straight. Next, draw these 3 toes that should bend around the branch. Now let's draw legs one more time from below, and you can try one for yourself. And finally, one more time from below, but with interest position of legs. One leg is here and the other one is placed there. So we actually see only one leg, and on the other leg we see only toes. So now I should know how to draw birds, right? Time for a little experiment. Remember those first birds I drew? Let's take a look back and see what happens when I redraw them using all the tips and techniques I've picked up. I have to admit, those first drawings weren't as bad as I thought they would be. They are actually pretty decent, but they took ages to draw and I'm already seeing some issues. Some birds have heads that are way too round, and few have beaks that don't quite sit right. And let's not even mention the ones missing legs altogether. For the first bird, I started just redoing my original drawing without checking a reference. But midway though, I realized it wasn't looking quite right. So I remembered I have a reference. I had to pull up an actual reference image and redraw it. This time the drawing looked better. I didn't over-focus on the little details, and surprise, I finally remembered to add legs. Then came the second bird. Here using a direction line was incredibly helpful. It kept me on track with the head-to-body proportions, and I got the angle between the head and chest right this time. Fun fact, the body on this bird is a 3/4 view, but the head is turned more to the side, which is totally normal for birds. It's amazing how much a simple line helps. For the next bird, a flying one, I followed the same basic steps for the body. Knowing even a bit about the bird anatomy made all the difference here, especially with the wings. I could draw them confidently, knowing what parts they consist of. I didn't spend much time detailing because it's just a sketch, but the basics came together so much faster. Then came another flying bird. I could already see how much easier it was to get the body's direction and proportions right. My first attempt had this odd elongated tummy, so I adjusted that. And I have to say those wings were way more fun to draw this time around. Plus, having some basic knowledge about drawing bird legs and feet helped helped me with adding those details. Finally, I tackled this little cute bird. With the new techniques, the process was quick and smooth. Having a clear method really made it easier. This time I wasn't lost in all the details and could move along confidently. Although I'll admit, I think my first drawing of its body was actually better. The first one had that cute round ball-like shape, while the new one feels a bit, off. But see for yourselves. So here are the results. And I'm amazed. It took me 32 minutes to draw those birds, and I drew the first one twice. And I think those birds look more professional, if you could say so, than the first ones. And there we have it. From swans to songbirds, failed attempts to solid techniques, I've officially transformed my bird drawing journey. If you are looking to expand your drawing skills, go ahead. Grab a pencil and give it a try. I promise it's worth every failed attempt. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week, get creative, and I'll see you next time on the channel.